All right, back down here, and this is my third, well, this is actually my second trapping location down here. You got blue herring flying there, a lot of hawks flying over today. Nice day, 70 degrees, no sunshine. It's beautiful out right now. Nice thing about setting drowning rigs and 330s is you don't have to worry about checking them at first light. My conibearing set off, but I know I got a beaver right here. Yeah, I got him. There he is. This isn't the one that I've been after, though. There he is. We got a beaver. All right. This is on a double drowning rig set. I guess I should stick a stick right here, make sure he didn't set off the 650 before I step in it myself. He didn't actually go out to the middle, which I'm kind of surprised. Of course, I did have the wire wrapped pretty tight. You can see how bad he tore up his bank. But he's not missing a front paw, so this isn't the one I was after. But I'm pretty psyched about this get right here. Like I said, I've been after this beaver, or a beaver in here for a while. This isn't the one I was. Yeah, he got the 650. So let's see if he got the Victor too. I got this on an apple set. No caster here. Yeah, he did. Oh man, that's a nice beaver. Look how big that fucking guy is. Woo boy. That's a big beaver. Oh, man, am I proud of that. I've been chasing these beavers for a while now. I got a double coil Victor set right here somewhere. I'll make sure I don't step in that one. It's not quite as big as a 650, but close. Yeah, I can feel the trap right there. All right, so yeah, I caught him late last night, either that or yesterday at some point, because he's rig. Yeah, there's a 650 Duke, boy, 4 coil. He got caught up. Oh, I just barely got him. And he didn't, I don't think he drowned. You can see the cable right here. Oh yeah, that's in a, I put that in a stake. I've been using railroad plates. There's an abandoned railroad not too far from here. It was built in the 40s, and the line's dead. So what you do is, there's plates laying everywhere from people like tearing the railroad tracks apart and quads and stuff going over top. So the railroad ties are all rotted. You just pull the 2 spikes and you slide the plate out, and you put that on your end of your wire. You walk out there, and then you push that plate like a wedge, and you push it sideways into the mud, so when he's pulling on it this way, it basically acts like a boat anchor and sinks. So it works good. So my first beaver in North Carolina of the year. And these beaver, man, they are pretty down here. That's a big beaver. He's a big one, big guy. I mean, wow. For reference, there's a 5-gallon Lowe's bucket. So I'm tickled pink. Hopefully I don't have more than 1 or 2 in the other trap, because like I say, I only wanted to catch 1 or 2 beaver down here. I'd be happy with that. I have no interest in going and catching 30 or 40 beaver or 100 beaver like some guys do. I just like to get a couple every year, and eventually I'd like to make a blanket for myself, and then I'll probably never trap a beaver again for the rest of my life. So we're disassembling all beaver traps in here today. I've had this set going for about 8 days in here, and you know, I'm not into the whole religious thing, but I think I'm pretty blessed for getting this guy. I'm a happy boy. That's a big beaver. That's a big one. Every bit of 30, 40 pounds, I bet. I know they get bigger than that, and I know there's bigger ones down here, but I'm gonna pause this and get my other trap out of the ground. I can't believe he didn't drown himself. I figured normally, because that's like about 5-6 feet deep right there. Actually, it's like 4.5, 5 feet deep right there, because it comes up. It's the very top of my chest waders. I got to be on my tippy toes when I'm out there. So I'm gonna pull my stake out of the ground right here, which I'm not using stakes. I'm using the coyote stakes. There it is right there. Oh, I doubled that. That's why you didn't yank it out of the ground. That was smart of me. The ground here is pretty soft. It's hit or miss. You get around a tree like this, the stakes usually go in pretty good, and then they'll bite pretty good. But like the bullets, you can't use the bullets here at all. Not at all. You got to use the flat, the pullers. I'm going to pause this, pull everything up, and then I'll show you the rig. Damn water. So what you got are these blades here, and you have a setter that's it's a piece of round stock, about 1/2 inch round stock, and it's got a groove in there. So you slide that, you line up your cable like that, you put your setter on, and these are long cables. I'm gonna replicate these. I'm gonna replicate these and make my own, but I want to use, you see these are about 16 inches or so long, these ones here, which are good for hard solid ground, you know. Might even be too long for a coyote set, but in this soft stuff, you know, but you can see how much better that bites. Will bite the ground trying to pull that out rather than a bullet. So double there, and then just a simple I put them together on one of those, tighten it up, and then you have your cable, your wire. It goes out to the plate or a stake, and then I put a 650 right here, right here at the shore, which is what he got caught in. I gotta love that, how that mud turns that steel like a blue or a green. This trap's been set for 4 days. Like I say, it was an apple set, which, I mean, apple set, basically you just, what I do is I get one apple and I cut it into, like, you know, fourths, and then I cut it in half. You get little chunks, and I just get the chunks and I sprinkle them everywhere. And then sometimes what I'll do to get him real enticed is along his path, like his runs or along the deep part of the thing, is I'll get apples and I'll just push them on a tree branch. You know, and that'll bring them right in every time. Better than the caster, in my opinion. But then you have, and these are normally what I do for just straight anchor footholds. They're these antique, these are double coil Victors, the old school ones. And then if you look, this is how I do my coyotes, my raccoons, my DPs on my raccoons, everything. I put a spring in there. Now what that does is it takes a shock out of the line. Takes a shock out of the line, and it keeps that from pulling his foot out of there. It works great. If you've never set footholds, especially solid footholds and not drowning rigs, with a spring, get into that. You will save. You'll catch so much more fur that way. You'll get less misses, and that's really what you want. So you get the 650 Duke, you put it there, and then this is pretty shallow in here. At least it was before I started standing in it and digging holes. So I get 2 chances to get him, or if I get him here and he tries to swim out, you get another trap on one, maybe his front foot or his back foot, whatever, which one you miss him on. And it works better that way, because then they'll swim out. And like I say, this is pretty deep. So he swims down, and these traps have the, this is swivel. You have double swivels. Swivel on the bottom of your trap, swivel on down here on your wire. So he can slide out, but he can't go back in. It's like chokes it. If you don't know what a drowning swivel is, drowning rig. These come in different shapes and stuff, but these are the best right here, in my opinion. You can buy those L-shaped ones. They work. I've seen those bent into U's though. So, good day. Like I say, I only had 3 traps here. At one point I had 8, but I pulled them all. Whenever I missed him that day over here, I went crazy and set like 8 traps in here. 3 330s and like a bunch of 650s and some of these Victors. And then basically a day went by and I'm like, you know what? Maybe there's only one beaver back here. I'm like, he lost his foot. I felt bad. I was hoping he could still get the one beaver with the 1 foot, but he lives to fight another day. So I'm gonna try to set my phone up in here and you can get a good look on what this is like in here. I would assume that most swamps are all like this, or, you know, beaver areas, beaver dams, whatever. Let's cross our fingers that that does not fall in the fucking water. There ain't no way I'm gonna get to it quick. I should be able to pull this stick straight out of the ground pretty easily. I never leave my wire or anything behind if I can help it. I mean, it will rust and rot away eventually, but channel locks, 2 pairs of channel locks and a pair of dikes, a pair of lines and pliers. So you see I'm like knee deep right here. She goes down quick. I'll get this, twist it around the jaws. Damn, is that in there? Might go a little deeper. What the fuck? I'd say this water's gotta be, it's gotta be cold. There was ice on it all the way up till yesterday, so. You know, always bring a little saw with you. I bring an axe, I bring a saw, and I bring cutters, and I got a knife on me. I mean, you want versatility for sure. But just a green tree branch, and then you get that with the Y in it, so the wire can't slip up over. And then you just get that, push it down into the mud as far as you can with your arm, and then step on it. At one point back home, because it ain't as muddy back home, so what I made a setter for like rebar stakes. And what I was doing is getting 3/4 nuts and doubling 3/4 nuts, welding the nuts together, and slipping both nuts down over the rebar, plug welding the top, and then just like a 1/4 inch stitch on each side of the nut. And then I took a piece of like Schedule 80 pipe, heavy wall, like 3/8 wall, cut a piece of it, and then welded that onto a piece of 3/4 round bar. It was heavy to lug around, but when you get into deep water like this and you're trying to pound a rebar stake into like sand and rock, you ain't gonna push in with your foot like you can here. So I was getting that setter, and I made that thing about 4 foot long. So I pushed the stake in with my foot as far as I could. I'd get the setter, set it on top of it, and then pound it in with a 4-pound sledgehammer. But those usually don't come back out. Normally what I do with those is I just reach down in the water as deep as I can, cut the wire, and leave the stake set. I mean, sometimes you just can't pull them out. You just can't. So, when I was a kid, I used to trap a lot of raccoon, a lot of muskrats. It's fun. It gets you out in the woods, you know. You learn a lot of stuff. You see a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of wildlife. You don't really run into many people. Where I'm from, there was quite a few trappers in the area. I don't know about now. I think guys mostly concentrate on coyotes and fox. Nobody's trapping muskrats or coons right now. Nobody. Raccoons, you're going to start seeing a lot more of them. Because if there is no raccoon, there's no fur trade anymore for a raccoon. I'm sure there's still guys trapping them, but they're not worth anything to sell. So, always pick up your litter and garbage. That's my biggest complaint about down here. Is my God, the litter. Just horrible down here. I say it used to be so gorgeous down here. The litter everywhere. Well, I give you another piece of advice. These waders, they're hot to wear down here when it gets warm. They're 1,600 gram insulation. They're very heavy duty waders. I wear these up Erie when I go steelhead fishing, and it gets cold up there. They are heavy to walk in, but down here, check this out. A lot of turtles down here. I've never seen so many turtles in my life. A lot of red-eared sliders and soft-shelled turtles, a lot of snapping turtles. Anyway, if you try to wear a pair of breathables in here, you're gonna be taking on water, man. You really are. Now, I want to know why the beaver do that. There's some behavior that the beaver have that I just don't understand. Like, that's not a castor, that's mud. Yeah, it don't smell like beaver. Like, I always thought castor was beaver shit. I don't know why they make those mounds. I'll have to look that up. Been trapping for a lot of years, and I still don't understand that. But I'm gonna cut that there and post this one, and then I'm gonna go back to the set last night that I set in the dark, and I'm pretty sure we got a beaver. I'm pretty sure I got a beaver there before I even left. I set my two 330s in those little creeks that go up to the beaver dams, and then I set 2 footholds on castor mount drowning rigs just like this set up here, except instead of a stick I used a railroad plate. And I'm almost 100% positive I set those 2 beaver trap, them 2 330s, and then right before I got my kayak, I heard smack. I mean, I heard one of them traps smack. So I'm almost 100% positive I got another beaver at the other site. And then, like I say, I'm very excited. I've been working on this. I'd only planned on staying down here for a couple days, maybe like, a week, 10 days. My little brother's got a 2013 DRZ 400, and he rode the damn thing into a creek. That's like I say, down here you don't do stupid shit like that. Like, I guess he could see the bottom and it looked soft, and basically he just sunk the whole front end and laid the bike over in the water, and it sucked water into the exhaust, or he got water up in the exhaust and water down in the intake, and then instead of going home immediately, pulling the spark plug, filling the crankcase full of WD-40, draining the oil and flushing it out, he decided he was going to try and start it right there. So luckily he didn't do any damage to the motor. He thought the clutches were stuck up. He thought he had dirt down inside his crankcase, so we flushed it, and I took the clutch cover off and all that stuff and made sure the clutches weren't stuck, and we flushed the engine like 4 or 5 times. And then he had some jetting problems. We had to rejet the bike, and so I got to help him with that. I wish I could spend more time with him. I really do. Boy, it's a big beaver. I think that's bigger than the one I got last year. Yeah, definitely a little bit bigger than the one I got last year. Very exciting. Very neat critters. So we're done here, and I will pick up the a new video. I guess I wish I knew how to edit and stuff like that. I'm gonna get into that eventually, because we got a lot of dirt bike riding videos coming up this year. I'm gonna be doing a lot of dirt bike riding. Actually, I got a 2001 1999 YZ400 YZ426 build going on right now. I'd like to do videos on that. I know a lot of the videos I see, there's like no explanation of anything. People, I mean, they're good videos sometimes, like if you're looking for information, but I'd like to get into more detail, like about stuff like this. Guys are real quick about it, and I don't know. It's basically just a side hobby. I have no intentions of trying to be a YouTube star. I just think it'd be neat to share some of the cool shit that I like to do. And I do all kinds of stuff. I mean, you see the insulator. I do a lot of insulator hunting, bottle hunting, trapping, dirt bike riding. You name it. I like to go out and do it. Fishing. And I'm going to Alaska here. I just found out last night. So my mother is a traveling nurse, but she's got some health issues and stuff. Not crazy, but and she's got a bad back, and she wants to drive all the way through. So from down here in North Carolina all the way to Anchorage, Alaska. And it's 4,377 miles one way. So I don't have anything going on right now. So I'm gonna drive with her. We were gonna go up through Canada, but I don't have a passport. And I guess you can actually go into Canada without a passport, but good luck trying to get back into the United States. All you need is like a birth certificate, a real ID, your social security card, some proofs, you know how that works. But you might not be able to get back into the US. This according to quick Google searches and stuff like that. So we're actually gonna go from North Carolina to Bellingham, Washington, which is where my daughter and my ex live, and then take the ferry to Anchorage. So it's pretty neat. I don't know if anybody's ever looking into doing that. It's like almost about $3,000 to do that, 2 people, not including gas though. So you're looking at like $4,000 to drive across the country. And she's got a brand new Wagoneer SUV, so she doesn't get the greatest gas mileage. But I'll be posting some videos on that too. I can't wait to see the gorgeous sights, man. It's going to be cold in Anchorage. It's supposed to be like, high 15 during the day, at 4 or 5 degrees at night, but I'm kind of used to the cold. You get used to it quick. Everybody's like, woo, it's cold. Just go out in it and jog. I don't know, do something. You can't just stand still in the cold. You gotta do something. Like I go set traps. It'll be ice. I'll be sticking my hands down in the water. You get used to it after a couple days. You'll be in like a sweater in that kind of weather. You'd be surprised how fast you get used to it. So I'll be posting some videos on that. Two blue herrings right there flying. A lot of wildlife in here. It's really neat. So, all right, I'm done.